Hello, everybody. What's up? Unsubbed. See you guys. Okay. Okay. What's up, everybody? Oh, shit. I'm gonna make sure this is all set up properly. I'll probably just call. Yeah. Stream blend sesh. High Hunter is the best hunter. Well, then sorry. I guess you're getting the subpar hunter this time around. Get out of the chat, Drupally. I'm not gonna fall for this one, okay? It's not gonna happen. Can you name one good thing blacks have ever done for society? Are you kidding me right now? There are multiple different things. You can't say music? Okay. There are various different inventions also. What are you talking to Destiny about? We're talking about debate stuff and capitalism. A couple questions.
Hello. Wait, can you give me like 10 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm just finishing this video up. Okay, we're scheduled for 10 minutes. Okay, so
Okay, I
I'll
got
be
you.
right back.
Well, we got 10 minutes, guys. We're going to hang out, I guess. I guess that means that we get to chill and read donations. Hey, if you're watching the stream and you want to help support the stream, now's the time to get a donation in. I'm not going to be doing a stream for very long today. I don't know. I just haven't been feeling great. So we'll see. Maybe, who knows? Maybe I'll perk up as the stream continues. But Double Sauce, thanks for the 20 bucks. I shall be first and top donor. Hunter, yo mama's so short that when it rains, she's the last to know. It's pretty funny. Good one. I also have a bad news. You're not actually the first donor. The first donor is Top Gasser. Very cool name. Thank you for the $2. Destiny's a girl name from JLP. Yeah, that's true. I guess that's where that meme came from, right? Jesse Lee Peterson. Hunter, what makes someone male or females appear? No, male and female refer to sexual characteristics. Ask Destiny if he's too old to be playing video games. No, you're never too old to play video games. Why does Hunter always look like his cat died? It's because you people in my chat just bring me down, you know? Just kidding. Why does Flamenco keep asking if I have any takes on Kyle Rittenhouse? Not really. From what I understand, I thought it was mostly justified, I thought, maybe? I don't have strong opinions on it because I have to do my own research on it, so no. I certainly don't have any takes worth debating, that's for sure. Destiny is a solid debater. I know, he is, yeah. Thank you, Double Sauce, for another $5 donation. Blacks have given various things from comedy and various feats of physical prowess. You can probably just look up. Let's see. Here we go. Eight black inventors who made daily life easier. Improved ironing board. Okay, so for the person that asked, here you go. It's just such a a dishonest question. Like the framing of it entirely is just dishonest. Based Mario, thank you for the $13.99. I'm saying this before it's illegal where I'm from, but there's only one gender. Oh shit, you're in here with the real hot takes. So the three light traffic light. Okay. Refrigerated trucks. Okay. Automatic elevator doors. That's cool. So there you go. I think it might be ironic. No, people are sincerely asking dumb shit like that, believe me. Thank you everyone for the donations thus far. Thank you for supporting the channel. Appreciate it. Sup, snowflake cock. Get in my Discord. So that's cool. Okay. How do you still have so many dipshit conservatives sub to you? Some people hate watch me. Other people are based cool conservatives that actually stick around even though we disagree. But yeah, there are some people that just, they literally just follow me just because they hate me, I'm pretty sure. But it's okay. It makes for a very exciting stream. Destiny is about not understanding communism. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to talk to him a little bit about whether like capitalism is exploitative intrinsically. I am one of the based conservatives. Hell yeah. Who the F is Destiny? No one's telling me. He's one of the biggest political streamers on Twitch. Hunter just said the N-word? No. Sorry, buddy. Maybe in your dreams. Also, I don't know what it means to be based. Okay, here we go. Hello.
Hi, what's up?
Hey, man. Thanks so much for talking to me today.
Yeah, no problem.
I really appreciate it. You know, I've said publicly before that I really do have a lot of respect for you. I really, I've been watching your content for the last, 2 or 3 months, really, a lot, very frequently. And I don't know, I really appreciate your content. I feel like it's really helped me think through things at a much deeper level and in a much more, consistent and logical way. So, yeah.
Oh, well, cool. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Yeah, well, thanks for talking to me again. So, yeah, I was hoping we could talk just a little bit about just general debate advice, and then I had some questions about capitalism too.
Yeah, sure thing. Wherever you want to start.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just jump right into it. Debate is something that I'm not really too great at, but it's something that I really want to get good at. And it's weird for me because usually I don't want to get better at something, even though I have if I fail at something enough times, then sometimes I just take that as a sign that okay, maybe this just isn't for me. So I've had some pretty embarrassing public blunders with debate before. But despite all that, I still find myself wanting to do it again and give it another shot. And I just really want to try to get better. And lately, the past few weeks, I feel like I've been improving a little bit more just because I've been doing a lot more of them.
Hmm.
But yeah, I guess my first question would just be like, how did you get to where you are today as to being like so good at debate and so comfortable having conversations about like virtually any topic, it seems.
I mean, it's mainly just like practice, practice, practice. There's like a lot of when you're having like these types of conversations, it's the navigating these conversations is a skill that you have to work on.
Hmm.
So you'll do some, watch videos of yourself doing it, figure out if you're making mistakes, try to fix those mistakes for the next conversation, and then do it again. And you just got to keep doing that. You'll fuck up a lot, but eventually you'll get better at it. And it's kind of the improvement process for every skill, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Do you ever do debates and you don't feel like you did that good in the debates and then you listen to it again and you actually think you did do okay?
Mm, no, I think I usually judge myself a little bit more harshly than otherwise. So it's more likely that I would feel like I didn't do good.
Okay.
Um,
Then that,
no,
yeah.
wait, that would be supporting what you just said. Where, okay, sorry, hold on, let me figure that in again. I did a lot of drugs last night. Sorry. Okay, my,
No, it's
my brain
okay.
is still recovering. Okay. You asked me if do I ever feel like I didn't do good, but then I rewatch it and I feel like I did do good.
Yeah. Does that ever happen to
Um,
you?
I don't I don't necessarily think so. I'm trying to think if that's like ever happened before. I
Okay.
think that like um there are times where people think that I did okay, but if I'm not happy with the performance as it's happening, then usually if I go back and watch it again, I still probably won't be happy with the performance as it's happening. Yeah, because I know I can do better.
Okay.
Hmm.
Cool. Cool. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see people make during debates? Just generally like on the online sphere, like what are, I don't know. Do you have any a few that you've seen that you would like advise against?
Mm, it's so hard because every type of person is so different the way that you handle them. There's different archetypes that you kind of need to learn for
Mhm.
conversations because how you approach those debates is going to be like way different. Like sometimes people want to approach debates like boxing, like they want to get really good at boxing, and then
Mhm.
you'll like go to debate a person and he's like an MMA dude, and you're like just totally not ready.
Mhm.
So like let's say that you want to debate I don't know how many names you know in this space. Let's say you want to. Do you know who Dylan Burns is?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So let's say that you want to debate Dylan Burns on something. As
Mhm.
long as you roughly understand the facts and you know what you're going to say, then you'd like have a conversation and then you would have like a quote unquote debate with him where you try to lay out your argument as logically as possible and then poke holes in his, right?
Right.
Like a very standard debate. But let's say you're debating somebody like Rob Noor. Do you know that guy?
Isn't he the conservative guy that I think he's been on a lot of
Mm-hmm.
panels with you before too, right?
Yeah, he is a conservative. Yeah. So he's like a very good debater in that what he'll do is he will spin really big stories whenever he opens his mouth. So you might say something like, I don't like I think that there are systemic injustices in the criminal justice system. And his response to that will be like, "Oh, well actually, if we go back and we look at what Obama did under the criminal justice system, we can see that the majority of these cases are fake and blah 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 blah." And he'll go on and on and on and on and on. And he
Mhm.
might say like 5 or 6 things you disagree with, but by the time he's done talking, he's like spun a really convincing story.
Hmm.
And there are other ways that you would like fight against somebody like that versus somebody like Dylan Burns, right? It's going to be a totally different type of entanglement in terms of trying to quote unquote win that debate.
Hmm.
So it's really hard to give like a like, oh, what are 4 things to look out for? You know, like because I can give you some things, but it's going to be like totally different depending on who you're having a conversation with.
I guess that's true because some conversations, I guess, are going to be relying more on like the technical and just like the factual side of things. I guess that's how it would be if you were having a debate with Dylan Burns. How would
Mhm.
you go about then debating someone like Rob Noor, someone who does like construct these like massive, convincing stories really quickly? Like, how would you go about debating a person like that?
Um, you have to first you need to be aware of what's happening.
Okay.
That's like really, really, really important. And then you probably need to be very well read on what it is exactly you're going to be talking about, because those types of people that spin stories, the conclusions will be true following their facts, but you're usually going to have to fight on the underlying facts, meaning there is no shortcut there. You're just going to have to be like pretty well read on what it is specifically that they're talking about.
Okay.
If
Cool.
you know all the points, you're pretty well read on them, then those types of debates can become very easy because technically, it's strange. So have you ever heard of the term Gish Gallop?
Yeah.
So if somebody gish gallops, what they're trying to do is they're trying to construct a strong conclusion based off like 6 or 7 faulty or not that great premises. But as long as they rapid fire them out, like the conclusion feels good, even if everything underlying isn't necessarily true. Technically, you really only have to tear down 1 or 2 arguments to destroy the credibility in the eyes of a viewer. So if somebody gish gallops like 6 or 7 points at you, if you're familiar with like 2 or 3 of these underlying points, you know they're wrong, you can point that out, and you'll
Right.
like look good, even if the other argue, you don't have to know anything about the other arguments. But yeah, for people that engage in that kind of stuff, it's pretty important that like you just have to know the underlying stuff.
Okay, yeah. So it really does come down to just being well researched and well prepared for whatever topic you're going to be discussing, I guess.
Depending, yeah.
Yeah. I guess the last question I would have just in relation to debate would be, I mean, you seem really good at reaching people that disagree with you. And I guess maybe this is kind of like the biggest mistake question again. I was going to ask, what are a couple effective like ways that you found to be really effective with reaching people that just completely disagree with you? Because my initial thought would be trying to find middle ground with that person, but you seem to have a way of like really convincing people of your side.
Again, that's going to super depend on who you talk to. I
Yeah,
think
maybe
the
these are too
general,
broad. These might be kind of
yeah, I
broad
think that the
questions.
no, it's okay. I think that the general advice is usually like what I say is you have to meet people where they are. So the best way to convince somebody is you have to be willing to acknowledge these like underlying descriptive realities. And as long as you'll meet somebody there, usually you can bring them over to your side. That's kind of the goal. So that's like one prong of it.
Mhm.
Um, and then the second prong of it is you have to make one thing that I found is really effective is to make sure that people understand that the other side isn't really offering any good solutions. This has worked against alt-righters and commies or tankies. Like when people start complaining about something, or like when you're talking to white nationalists, it's like, okay, well, fine. Let's say that I buy into every single thing you've said. Let's say black culture, Mexican culture, all of it's bad. What do you want to do? And then usually they falter there because it's like, well, are you really going to ship off every non-white person? How are you going to decide who's white enough? Are we really going to do
Right.
like the one drop rule? Like, yeah, how are you going to do that? And then if they start to falter, then they don't have any real solutions. That starts to look really bad in the eyes of their followers.
Right,
Um,
because it looks like
yeah,
all they're just interested in kind of attacking and not actually having any solution. That
yeah,
makes
basically. Yeah.
sense. Yeah. I had some arguments with some white nationalists the other day, and I did use some of the arguments I heard both from your videos and from Vosh's videos. And overall it did go pretty well because it ended up taking that direction actually by just asking them like what would they do. And yeah,
Hmm.
even in the eyes of an audience, it looks so bad to see the person pretty much just admitting that like yeah, we'd want to like just separate black and white people in the country. Like
Hmm.
you're not going to win that argument in the eyes
Yeah,
of an
exactly. It
audience.
looks ridiculous. Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
I guess yeah. I mean, I guess we can move on to the questions about capitalism. I definitely have some people who follow me, I think from Vosh's audience and just people in general who are a little bit further left than I am. Um, but I've watched a lot of your content with you arguing with lefties, and that's another reason why I really have been enjoying your content so much is because so I have like a lot of respect for Vosh because he kind of pulled me out of my like right wing echo chamber.
Hmm.
And then I feel like what you did really good at was also challenging the left at the same time that I was coming out of the right.
Hmm.
And so I feel like I don't know, I feel like where I could have ended up would have been another echo chamber just on like the lefty side of things. But after I kind of, I mean, that sounds kind of bad. I don't think I would have gone to that same extent at all of being in an echo chamber the way I was when I was on the right. But there
Hmm.
were just some things, you know, especially when you follow people on Twitter and you kind of see it in your daily news or whatever, like before you know it, there's certain ideas that kind of become that you just sort of start to like accept almost as just like normal or true or whatever. And then to see you kind of pushing against that, to hear you really giving solid arguments for like more like social democrat positions, I don't know. I found it to be really refreshing. And I also always identified more with social democrat kind of policies working within like reality. um, and after watching your content, I just feel like, I don't know, your arguments were really solid. You gave me some more confidence in being, I guess, being a proud neolib, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah,
Um, I think online, one of the things that I try to focus on, it's hard because I think even I can lose it sometimes. Is I very much wish that people would absorb thought processes from me. I don't really care as much about the conclusions. I think the reason people go from like one radicalized like area of the internet to another is because they're not really like working on the thought process. It's more kind of like you're picking a community and a team online,
Hmm.
and then when you join that team or community, you kind of inherit all of their political beliefs.
Right.
And there's not really much thought given to the underlying political beliefs. Although,
Right.
to be fair, there's not really much reason to. I have like a financial gain that I can make out of like staking out certain positions, and like I make money on my YouTube and blah 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 blah. But if I was like a normal person in like an online community, if I tend to disagree with some of the more extreme views by said community, I don't gain anything for doing that, right? All you
Right.
would do is get ostracized. So, and a lot of these online communities are very, very, very pure in terms of
Oh yeah.
what the ideology that they accept. So if you like divert even a little bit, you can get super, super, super fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because the left is known for being very like purity checking all the time, and it
Hmm.
shows because you're right, people will be ostracized, but I think that like the right gives this veneer of acceptance, especially for people who like obviously if you're an apolitical person and you see one side of the political spectrum that seems much more open and accepting and one that's going to purity check you for something you said like that was offensive 8 years ago, like it kind of speaks for itself what seems to be inevitable there. But
Hmm.
I just feel like the right also has an issue with cancel culture just massively. And I experienced that first time. I don't want to just keep bringing the conversation back to myself, but I know when I called out the conservative censorship narrative a while back, and this was before I even had like left the right formally and whatever. And just it was instant that I had right wingers that had previously like publicly supported me when my channel got banned, all of a sudden tweeting that like I'm an example why young people shouldn't be allowed to speak. Or like it was insane how quick conservatives flipped on me the minute that I broke away from some of their ideology. So I feel like that happens on the right and the left. It's very much about conformity. So,
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely depends on. Um, it definitely depends on, yeah, different. Right now, different people have hold power in different areas of society. So that's going to be where you see the quote unquote cancel culture the most is where you intersect in society, right?
Right.
So like online, in terms of like large corporations, undeniably the left has most of the power right now. They have all the corporate backing in terms of like getting people canceled. No, like people getting canceled online is mainly going to be because of like left leaning people pushing for it. Although I think if right leaning people had the power, I think they'd probably push for it too, right? If you look at like Trump trying to cancel the kneeling guy for the anthem stuff,
Oh, Kaepernick.
Kaepernick, yeah. Um, or if you look at like people attacking people that don't support Israel or whatever,
Oh yeah, I mean
you can, yeah.
we
Mhm,
literally just saw that happen with the Olympics thing where the girl turned away
mhm,
from the flag. I was actually thinking about talking about that a little while because conservatives, yeah, like I think Dan Crenshaw wrote a whole ass book on like something to do with cancel culture, and then he was saying that she should be like kicked out of the Olympics because she didn't
mhm,
like stand for the national anthem.
yeah.
It's so hypocritical in my opinion.
Mhm.
But yeah, when it comes to capitalism, an argument that I've heard a lot against it, and I would be really curious to know your response, is capitalism intrinsically exploitative? And people usually bring up the like underclass sweatshops and like a level of coercion.
I think that people have very naive readings into what coercion means. And I think that people will stretch the definitions far enough to suit whatever argument they want to use. Um, like, it's funny because, see, this is kind of where I talk about like ideological like teams where you just kind of inherit the positions without thinking about them much.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the arguments that left leaning people will make, saying that like anything you do in a capitalist system is coercive, are actually identical to the arguments that libertarians make, saying that taxes are thievery, like all taxes are theft.
Hmm.
Um, so like if we look at like the most steelman version of like a leftist arguing that they would probably say like labor is exploitative in a capitalist system.
Hmm.
I mean, like you can say that, but then like my response would be like, well, you choose where to work, right? Like it's like that's not like forced upon you. Like you have a choice. And then the response back to that is going to be, okay, well, is it really a choice? If you choose not to, you're going to starve to death or you're going to die. That sounds like coercion to me. Now, if we want to use that definition of coercion, first of all, I don't know how I feel about that one, but let's say that we do roll with that.
Hmm.
Okay. If that's the case, then literally every single like economic organization is going to be coercive. I'm sorry, but you're never going to have a socialist system where people don't have to work. And when they don't have to do jobs that they don't want to do, that will exist in every single economic system. So if you're going to say that capitalism is coercive because people have to work to not die, communism or socialism will be the exact same. There are going to be people that have to work or they will die. So I mean, like, yeah, I just find that argument really unconvincing.
And then how does that play? That's a really great argument, by the way, a really great response. But how does that relate to the idea of like an underclass and there being like sweatshops overseas? Does capitalism require there to be like this underclass of individual? You can probably tell I don't understand the pros and cons of this argument very well. But
I think that gets like really complicated. I don't think that capitalism requires like an underclass of slaves. Like obviously we will tap into the cheapest labor markets possible.
mhm.
Although capitalist countries like to make those labor markets stronger because it helps their workers and there's a lot of political pressure to do so. So for example, with the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, there were a lot of labor rules written into that for countries that were going to join because if you're a native country, you don't want all of your workers getting outcompeted by other countries. So yeah, I don't think capitalism requires that slave labor or whatever to work. Like things will just cost a little bit more, but in general, I think countries like to trade with other countries that have like freer, more stable systems rather than people that are just being like oppressively slave like labored.
Okay, great. Okay, that's a really solid answer. Thank you. Um, I guess the next question would be how do you think that capitalism is going to I'm sorry, adapt for automation?
Who knows? I- this is a in Marx's time, I believe that he thought that with the advent of like the sewing looms and everything, he was pretty certain that I think in his lifetime capitalism would be done because like there would just be so much automation and everything, or there would be so many machines that there would be like an abundance of people and not enough work to do. That seems to be like an assumption that we run into over and over and over again. That oh my god, this new machine has replaced like a million workers. Like this one robot can do, like an Excel spreadsheet can do like what a whole like in like a whole room full of people with filing cabinets used to be able to do. Right? There's no way that there's going to be work, but it seems to be the case that we keep finding more work for people to do, and we haven't run out yet. I think the next big hurdle we'll jump through is going to be the automation of driving because truckers are like such a big part of the economy. But who knows? Maybe we'll keep finding more jobs. It's hard to say.
Okay. Okay, I guess that would kind of play to the next question, which would be,
Wait, hold on. I just want to wait. Can I address something real quickly?
yeah, sure.
So somebody says, Destiny, the difference is because it removes having to submit to the will of a capitalist. Under socialism, the idea is that what you do in the workplace is negotiated rather than just commanded. No. In any society, there is going to be some amount of work that people aren't going to want to do that they will have to do. That is going to exist in every single society. There is going to be some buy in where you must work. And not every job is going to be painting in the commune or fingernail polishing people in the commune. There's going to be shitty work like farming, like being a janitor, like working in sewers, and that stuff is going to have to be carried out by people that don't want to do it. That buy-in exists. That's just necessary in any society. Until we've reached like some post scarcity, fully automated like utopia or whatever. But yeah, okay, sorry.
When AI can do everything for us. But
Mhm.
yeah, that kind of plays into my next question, which would be, what's your perspective on a UBI? And I've also heard people they've talked about possibly using a UBI instead of raising minimum wage because that doesn't risk small businesses as much as raising minimum wage might. I don't know your opinion on raising minimum wage either.
This gets like really it's really hard to say this. First of all, I hate that there aren't enough like experiments with UBI because I'd be really interested to see how it plays out on larger scales.
Hmm.
Um, so it's just yeah, it's hard. I can't make any definitive statements on if UBI is good or bad just because it's hard to carry these experiments out on large scales. I wish they would happen more. I know
Okay.
they've tried to do it. I know that Yang talked about wanting to do it with some people. They were placed in Canada where they were going to do it. So it'd be cool to see that. I'm a huge fan, and for really dumb reasons, lefties get like really ass mad at like means testing. I really like targeting people that need help, and I'm worried sometimes that UBI would neglect some people that otherwise need like targeted help. Um, so yeah, like when we talk about like student loan forgiveness or whatever, the fact that all schools should be free, like I don't know if that's the case. I really like. Have you ever heard of the economic concept of price discrimination?
Um, could you explain that to me?
Yeah. So price discrimination is, you've probably heard that like the rising cost of college is getting more and more and more expensive. It's
Right.
not really true. The sticker price of college is getting more expensive, but the average cost paid by students is about the same as it always has been. It's gone up a little, it's gone down a little, it might be a little bit up right now. But the reason is because of something called price discrimination. So price discrimination is you go into a shop and they're selling, here is a textbook, it is $1,000. However, if you're poor, it's $500. If you are poor and you are handicapped, it's $200. If you live in this area, it's $400. Right? There's like ways to make it so that the price is brought down lower for people that need the extra help, but for people who can afford the full price, you pay the full price. Yeah.
Hmm. And you're saying lefties aren't a big fan of that at all?
No, because they want everything to be universalized for arguments that, in my opinion, are wholly unconvincing. So it feels like an ideological position to me more than anything. But lefties will say that when you universalize programs, it makes them harder to attack and there's not as much stigma around them. Personally, I don't buy into that at all. I think it's silly, but that would be their
Hmm.
response to that.
Okay. Okay, very cool. Um, Recently I was talking a little bit about like rainbow capitalism, and I was more or less defending that. I was kind of saying, although it's hollow, it seems to have like a net positive, or not a net, sorry, I was corrected by someone in chat the other day. But it seems
Mhm.
to have an overall positive effect. Um, what do you, but that's right. A lot of the times people will bring up, though, as a response to that, these companies that have like donated to politicians via their corporate PAC. So I did some research into a corporate PAC and kind of found out how they work. But that kind of leads to a broader question, which is how, like, what do you think the current issues are with campaign finance? And is it even a bad thing that corporations are able to push for their business interests? Like, I guess where's the line there?
Um,
That might have been a poorly
this is
phrased.
like my least popular take, even in my community. I'm probably gonna like, I need to like weave together like 4 or 5 different articles that I've read on this. Is very interesting. I think that campaign finance is just way, 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 way less important than people think it is. I think people are really uncomfortable with the idea that we live in a democracy and people vote the way that they do. I think that people want to look for boogeymen everywhere, and they want to try to find like, you know, what's fucking everything up, like what's destroying everything. And you know, corporate finance or campaign finance is like the easiest kind of like boogeyman to point at. But I think the reality is that I think the reality is that it probably doesn't affect our politics that much.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I've seen a lot of like interesting stuff that kind of points in that direction, but that's like a whole other type of conversation.
Right.
I'd encourage people to read more into that. But yeah.
I've heard you talk before about how you haven't really seen an example of any major corporation that was in favor of some kind of legislation that was unpopular
Mhm.
with the American people that still ended up passing. There usually is not.
Yeah, this is my kind of like shit test for this because there's a lot of things that I believe in, probably still today, that I haven't thought too much about. I try to think about everything that I talk about at least. But the corporate finance, campaign finance from corporations, is actually my largest issue in 2016. It's something that was really, really,
Okay.
really important to me. Like I was the reason why I supported Bernie, even though he's more left on most issues than I'd like to be. I was like, we just need to get corporate money into politics, 100%. And then I think I had a conversation with somebody, and I don't know if they posed this question to me or if I just thought of this question afterwards, but it's like, well, what's like one major policy that like all of America is united on, but corporations keep fucking us over on? And I
Mm.
honestly can't think of a single thing. I couldn't think of anything. And it's tempting sometimes to say certain things, but when you know, like people across the political aisle on the other side, you're like, well, no, there's probably reasons why this isn't supported by all of America, and it's not just because of like shady campaign finance corporations like dealing in the background or whatever. It's just because there are legitimately huge ideological divides in this country for how we should approach, yeah, doing things.
Right, right. I guess this is a little bit disconnected from the capitalism discussion, but what's
Oh,
your
wait, real quick. So this is a really, really, really good example.
okay.
There's a video that was just released where oil companies admitted that they've done everything they possibly can to stop clean energy by lobbying. What are you talking about, Destiny? So that's a really good example in my favor. So people got mad because the Exxon shit came out recently where they were trying to do what they can to like keep oil shit or whatever. I'm pretty sure there have been 3 massive pipelines with huge companies behind them that have been totally canceled now in the United States. The Keystone XL pipeline, I think, is dead. There was one in the eastern Atlantic pipeline that I believe is completely dead. And then there was a third one as well. I don't think it was in Canada. It might have been in Michigan. I don't remember. That's also completely dead. Like pipelines and everything. are getting crushed around the US because of like overwhelming public backlash against them. And the oil companies, the energy companies are really well funded. They've got a lot of money to lobby, and their lobbying did fuck all to help these things in court, out of court, in the ring of public opinion. Yeah.
So it does seem that they are still at the will of the market to some extent.
In terms of what voters want, yeah, I think voters are the most important thing. It's just not a lot of people vote, and then a lot of people don't like the people voting against them. So we look for like boogeymen to blame.
That's an
But yeah.
interesting perspective. That's really cool. This is, like I said, a little bit disconnected from capitalism, but I wanted to ask you about democracy. An argument that I hear a lot. Well, I guess I should first decide to you. What is your opinion on democracy?
I mean, it seems cool. I'm disappointed by a lot of our outcomes sometimes, but I mean, the alternatives are like finding some dictator that you trust to do everything correctly. But that's just like so prone to so much abuse, and I don't know if this has ever been done well in history. Like, it seems pretty impossible to do that.
So what's the response? Because I don't believe this, but what is the response when people say that democracy is just mob rule? I know that that's incorrect. I just don't know what the response would be to that.
Well, I mean, it's specifically not. In the United States, we have a constitution that protects certain rights that, like, are literally, even if the majority want to get rid of it, you'd have to pass like a constitutional amendment otherwise, because of some like protected statuses. You can't just vote away like certain types of rights unless you can literally get so many people on board with it that you start to amend the constitution.
Maybe it was majority rule, not mob rule.
Sure. I mean, to some extent, democracy is kind of majority or mob rule. It just depends on how like your government is broken up. But there are parts of the U.S. government that are supposed to prevent that from happening, right? So like we have the Senate, for instance, to change how it's not just the most people. You also have state representation as well. We've got like the Supreme Court that's supposed to serve as a balance to Congress passing laws that might be unconstitutional. You've got, right, there's different, yeah.
That's true. That's a great response. Yeah. My last question would just be, I guess, going back to debate. Is there any debate that you've done that you feel that you've like just completely lost? Like, is there any debate you've done that you just look back at, you're like, I objectively did badly on that one?
Yeah, there are plenty. There are different ones for different reasons. Sometimes like, I think my past debates with Vosh, if you want to see like a big change in style that I've had, in terms of like not giving at all a fuck about rhetoric versus being more focused on it. If you look at like my Rittenhouse debate against Vosh, that's a debate that I feel like I won. I feel like my points were logical and consistent. But rhetorically, I looked bad because I was willing to bite bullets and because of some of the statements he made. But if you look at like more recent conversations I've had with him, I think that I am logically and rhetorically superior in those conversations. So like I would compare something like that. There have been people in the past that just knew more than me about a lot of like either conspiracy theories or about a given topic, so I just wasn't able to adequately counter them. So I had a conversation with Ryan Dawson in the past, and he just knew way more about Middle East shit than me. I had a conversation very recently with Larry Sharp, who knew like a ton of like things about history that I just didn't know, and it makes it really hard to like mount a coherent argument against anything. So
right.
yeah, I mean, like there are definitely times where I get into a conversation and I don't have all the information I need for that conversation. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. I mean, I know this was kind of a short conversation, but I really appreciate you answering some of these questions. It was really cool getting to talk to you a little bit.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime, buddy.
Yeah. Well, have a good rest of your day.
Okay. I love you. Be careful.
See you. Rose, I'm in the middle of a stream, and you're not supposed to be down here.
Hi. Okay.
Hey, Rose. I'm pretty sure Mommy would be mad at you if she knew you were down here.
Hi.
Rose.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, come here. You want to say hi to the stream? We're live right now, okay? That means everybody can see us. We have almost 300 people looking at us right now. Hi. Whoops.
Push.
Why are you not in bed?
Going.
No, not good morning. Good night time.
Going.
No. Good night.
Going.
No. Good. It's good night.
Going.
Good night.
Going.
Good night.
Going. Going.
Hey, look, everybody's saying hi to you. People are asking if she could talk. Of course she could talk. Hey, Rose. All right, let's practice some of your talking, okay? Can you say hi? What's your name?
Hi.
What is it? I couldn't hear you.
Rosie.
Rosie? What's your favorite show right now? Is it Bubble Guppies? What's it called? Bubble Guppies. Okay, why do you not talk? We have a bunch of people watching. Come on, now's your time. People are saying there's lag. Of course there is. Double sauce. Thanks for the $5. Cute Binky kid. I'll give you $5 for it. Yeah, is this your Binky? What color is it?
Purple.
Is that a purple Binky? Hold on, whoa, don't. That's the microphone. You want to go? No, you.
Kakashi.
No, it's not the end, guys. I'm still here.
Kakashi. No, get down. No, Kakashi.
All right. Let me go ahead and call up your mom. You need to go see your mommy, okay? Yeah, I am having major technical issues. Can you close my door, please, Rose? Good night. Go up to see mommy now, okay? Go see mommy. Go see mommy. Adorable kid, Hunter. I know, right? Nadine Marcus, thanks for the $5. All Rose has rose-colored hair. It's reddish. I know, isn't it perfect? The stream is acting up. I know. Is it still buffering right now? Now, okay? No, I'm okay. Um, Let me get down to my server and see if there's anybody that wants to talk for a couple minutes. All right, what do you say, guys? Should we do a, Let me change my thing now. Do you still consider yourself a free thinker? I mean, I fall most in line with the Social Democrat. Like Destiny and I think agree on a lot of things. I find his arguments really convincing. What do you want to talk about, Hunter? What do you mean? When did I say I wanted to talk about anything? Her energy force messed up the internet. Exactly. Uh-oh. Where did Destiny go? We only had just a quick half an hour chat. I didn't think we were going to talk for that long. Hey, Rose. Hold on, guys. Okay. I think we're good. Double sauce. Thanks for the $5. Wait, if Carissa's blonde and you're brunette, Rose is ginger. Yeah, I think we have a recessant red gene. I had gay sex with your dad and we're getting married in August. Okay. Neoliberalism has been tried for several decades. Things haven't worked out well. You could just as easily say things have worked out pretty damn well. All right, well, if anyone wants to get on my Discord and debate me, we're going to talk about how cringy nationalism is. All right. Let's smoke a marijuana. The marijuana. Hi, I'm new to the channel, and do you get a lot of trolls? When do you debate people? Yeah, and I would. Oh no. We actually have somebody in here that claims to be a white nationalist. Hunter smokes grasshoppers? Yeah. Didn't you hear they're loaded with THC? Making me jealous. I use weed medically, guys. Why do you smoke like that? Because I don't want to burn the fuck out of my throat. What's up, white nationalist? How you doing?
Oh, hey, what's up?
So, you're really a white nationalist?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. What's
Well, I
going
know you
on?
got finished smoking a grasshopper, so I don't think you're ready for this debate.
Well, we'll see.
All right, so why don't you like nationalism?
Well, why do you like white nationalism?
Because it's based.
What does that mean?
It means it's cool.
No, I mean, why do you think it's based?
Oh, well, because it's just you hate everything that's not straight and not white. It's just cool, man. So we can go online and bully people.
Are you just a troll?
No, I'm serious.
Nah, you're just a troll. I think that's
No,
kind
no,
of...
no, 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 no. Come on, man.
Are you
Come
gonna make
on.
some real arguments in favor of your case or what?
Oh, yeah. So can you name one good thing black people do for society?
Yeah, black people have contributed massively to American society. I was just going over a list of black inventors that have literally invented various different things that we use that make our lives easier today. So yeah, there are multiple different ways that black people contribute to our society. How have white
I think you're
people contributed
racist.
to our society?
You're white.
Yeah, but how have white people collectively contributed to society? You can point to white people that have contributed. You can point to black people that have contributed.
Oh yeah. Well, there's Isaac Newton.
So okay? You asked me the question. All right. I don't really have a lot of patience for white nationalists, so I can't tell if you're trolling
Okay,
either.
I can't even keep this up. I don't want to make you mad on your stream. I'm sorry, man.
All
I'm
right.
trolling.
Get out of here, dude. I do not like getting trolled, guys. Come on. Just hang up. I know I did. Now all of a sudden I'm gonna be accused of not taking criticism. It's D&D. What's up?
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. I'm actually really not super here to debate you. I just wanted to sort of tell you a criticism I have of your debate performance that I think could help you.
Okay, what's up?
So I listened to your entire segment with Destiny. And the one thing that I notice you doing in debates a lot that I think is not always beneficial is you seem a little too eager to argue your point, and you seem to come off as impatient when they're talking. I don't know if that's something I've just picked up on, but I think that that's one thing that you could improve for when you do debates against people like Lauren Southern. I don't necessarily think it applies when you're arguing against like a white nationalist or something, though, because you really do seem like a super genius compared to them.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. I definitely need to work on not interrupting as much. Part of it sometimes is like if the person is talking and talking and talking and then I hear them say something dumb that I think is like something I want to call out, then that's usually when I'll just stop them and go from there. But you're definitely right that I do sometimes go a little bit too I can be too eager. But I feel like I've also calmed down a lot now too.
Yeah, I think you're definitely better than you used to be, especially when I saw you first start debates.
Yeah, I mean,
I've watched you for a long time. So I say you've been better at arguing recently. Like when you were a conservative, I was a huge right-leaning person. I'm now, I guess, a leftist. But when I saw you initially, I'm like, oh man, he's so smart. And I'm like, he sort of uses the same tactics. When I looked back on some of your older content, I'm like, he uses the same tactics people like Ben Shapiro does of talking fast to sound smart.
I did that?
Somewhat. When you did the I guess street interview things.
I don't remember being very good at debate when I was conservative at all.
Yeah, I thought you were super smart when I was 13 at the time or 14 at the time. I was like a brain dead, haha, smart because I agree, and I've never had an idea challenged.
Exactly. Well, I'll drop you in on a little secret. I'll tell you and everyone watching. Tomorrow, I'm probably not going to be live, but I'm going to be calling into Anthony Brian Logan's live stream. He has his little call-in show, and I'm going to call him and confront him about his video. So
okay, I'm excited to watch that. Then I'll definitely tune into that.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him what he meant by saying the autopsy said he died from drugs and everything like that. I basically want to ask why he has that opinion.
It's because it's a talking point. I've done a fair amount of political debates myself recently. I've done a few on trans issues. I've argued with some true scum trans med people. I've argued against a few white nationalists as a Jewish person. So I've done a fair few debates. The thing that I've noticed about Anthony Bryan, or whatever his name is, I can never remember people's names, sorry.
ABL, it's all right.
Against ABL is he's basically, he understands things that are talking points, but nothing beyond that.
Exactly. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on, man, and thanks for the advice. I can definitely agree that I can be too eager sometimes, but I am trying to calm down too.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you listening. I've been wanting to get in here and talk to you for a while, but I've been too nervous still.
No worries, man. Well, thanks. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Jay, what's up? Okay, I can hear stuff. I just didn't hear anyone talking.
Oh, hello?
Hello.
Hello.
You here to debate me on something?
Something, and then I also have. I know you've been getting a lot of shit about like criticism and whatnot, but I actually have something constructive I want to share.
Okay, go for it.
So first of all, I want to say I've been watching you for a long time. I had back when you were a conservative, I had a lack of conservatives at my school. Live in a very progressive area, so it's really awesome to get another viewpoint. And I still watch it because I agree with a lot of the stuff you're saying. But in that recent video where you were talking about, I'm blanking on the channel, but it was that one. It was the black conservative who was talking about the Chauvin trial and how.
Oh, Anthony Brown Logan.
Yeah. I agree with what you were saying. But when you start, I wouldn't say insulting, but it seemed like you were getting a little aggressive, and I just don't want your points to be invalidated when just by you being aggressive about stuff. And you weren't necessarily getting rude or anything. From what I understand, I might be wrong. I watched it this morning on the way to work. I put it in my car and just listened. But I just don't want your points to get invalidated or anything. I just thought I'd take my opportunity to just let you know what I felt about that.
Yeah, no, I can I can understand that, and that kind of depends on your preference as well. Some people would prefer it to be very like kind of PG. For me, that's not really how. The thing is, when I see stuff that's really fucking dumb and like the ABL stuff, sometimes like I want to have a little bit of aggression going into that because I'm thinking as a viewer, I want to see a dipshit get absolutely smacked. I don't want to see.
I would love that.
Right. So that's part of the reason why sometimes I do insult and sometimes I hurl insults, because I've kind of done that from the beginning, right? Like what I've always done is I never just throw insults. If I was just saying you're fat and that was it, then that would be pathetic. But what I've kind of always done is I go after the argument, and then once I'm able to establish that this person's just lying, then I kind of feel like it's okay to throw insults at a level. Of course, they should be appropriate. I'm not saying slurs or whatever are okay, but insults, roasting them, I don't know. I like doing that. It's fun.
I mean, it's funny. I mean, I've never seen you do it in a debate, because if it was in a debate, then that would be like a big like fucking issue. Because I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've debated, and then I back them into a corner. And then it's mainly like on like Omegle and whatnot. But if I debate people, they get back into a corner and they start calling me like the F slur and everything. I'm like, okay, and then you can't defend your point. That's all I'm saying.
Then you literally know you've got them at that point.
Yeah, that's when you know you got them. But anyway, what I actually want to talk to you about as well is in that same video you were talking about Chauvin getting 22 and a half years. You felt that was fine.
Yeah.
Which I think he deserves to be locked up. I just think it should be life, and I just wanted to talk about that.
The thing is I don't know enough about the precedent. I know the way that the judge went about it. Chauvin was given the maximum sentence that was available for unintentional murder. So it's kind of like one of those things that I'm just happy that he has been charged, convicted, and is now facing consequences, just because in the grand scheme of things, it seems so rare for cops to actually face consequences.
I mean, if you look at shit like, actually, I live like 3 miles away from where like Tamir Rice got shot. If you look at stuff like that, nothing really happened. If you look at Trayvon Martin or fucking even Eric Gardner, or fucking if you go as far back as, I know it wasn't cops, but Emmett Till, when black men get killed by people with a higher power over them, more often than not police officers and whatnot, they hardly get convicted. So it's a big deal that Chauvin got convicted and he's going to be serving time. But when you see black people getting convicted over trivial bullshit like carrying weed, like nonviolent drug offenses, and then they have their entire lives ruined over that shit, and then a guy kills a dude kneels on his neck for 10 minutes and gets 22 years with a possibility of parole after 15. I just think that's kind of fucked. But I agree with you that, hey, it's a good thing that he's behind bars.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, man.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Listen, it was fucking awesome talking with you.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
For sure.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for taking the time.
See you later, man.
You too. Bye.
Capitalist Eagle 1, what's up? Doomer Nationalist.
Yeah, hello.
Are you actually a nationalist?
Yeah.
Are you a white nationalist?
No, I'm just I'm you can describe me as like a cultural or generic American nationalist, I guess.
Does this have anything to do with preserving white people?
I want to preserve American culture. Yeah, I would say I want to preserve historical demographics problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're the
Okay,
one
so well, hold on. I just wanted to be pointed out that we haven't even like introduced the conversation. You're already like not being honest about what you believe. Let's just
you're the one that started asking me all these fucking questions, and I wasn't even gonna ask you anything.
Because you said you're a nationalist who cares about demographics or whatever. So let's just be honest. You're a white nationalist. It's all right. You can
call me what you want to. Just don't call me a pedophile.
Okay, cool. So why are you why do you want to preserve?
Are you asking me questions? I thought I was supposed to be asking you questions.
Okay, yeah, you know what? Fair enough, I guess. If you don't want to get grilled.
Oh, you can ask me whatever you want to. I'll answer it. I just thought I was asking you questions.
You can ask the question first.
But why are you an atheist?
Because I just haven't really seen too much compelling evidence that there's a God.
What type of evidence do you need?
Well, what kind of evidence are you going to offer me?
I was just going to ask what type. Well, I'll offer you anything you want to know. I was just asking, do you want like scientific evidence or what? Because I can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I would need scientific evidence. I would need... There would just have to be so much. Furthermore, I'm not really sure what kind of a God exists either. Even if there is a God, I don't know what kind of God does exist.
Hold on. Whoa, what type of God? Are you arguing this from like an omnipotence point or like a religious point?
From a religious point.
Oh, okay. Well, we can get in that question. Well, after you come around to theism, then you would get into religion, or you would just stay a generic deist, I guess. But how do you? I don't know why you need scientific proof. How do you scientifically prove a logical question?
I mean, you could prove. So you could provide like scientific evidence to prove the Bible correct, for example. That might be able to prove that God exists, because then, God's written word is being able to be proven true. What's weird, though, is that it oftentimes seems that like evolution, the theory of evolution, which is the most believable, is at odds with what the Bible teaches, at least.
No,
so,
I disagree.
Okay. Why?
How's it?
Because like young Earth creationism.
And what about it? I don't think the Bible promotes young Earth creationism.
Okay, well, most people, I guess, interpret it that way. Either way,
it's like most of those people who support like young Earth creationism, you find reject a lot of church doctrine too. Like, I'm a Catholic. Most young Earth like that Kent Hovind guy that debated destiny about fucking the Earth being like 6,000 years old. That guy was like a non-denominational. So just most of the young Earth guys are usually like just weird Protestants that reject a lot of church doctrine. I've noticed that a lot too. But
yeah, that's more the environment I was raised in. That's kind of my own biases speaking through. But that's not really my main contention with religion. Like I said, my main contention is just that I haven't really seen enough proof of God. But I'm more interested in how, I don't know, does this have anything to do with your beliefs on preserving the culture? I don't know. I'm wondering, like, did God say that like white and black people are different or something? Like, I don't know.
I won't argue race from a biological point of view because, frankly, when it comes to things like IQ, I don't think there's enough evidence to prove that it's hereditary. But fuck, where was I getting at? Damn it, bro! You're the one that brought up race, and I was trying to ask.
Well,
you
your name
about-
your name is Doomer Nationalist. So
He should-
it just seems inevitable. Like I'm gonna ask you what kind of a nationalist you are, and you've now said you're a white nationalist. So yeah, that's
I
piqued my
never-
curiosity. So I kind of want to
I-
know why you are.
I'm not a white nationalist because I think that name's cringe. But and also I don't white nationalism would involve a creation of an ethno state, and I don't want to create an ethno state. And
So you
also,
just want to preserve American culture.
yes.
Okay, okay, great. So can we start there? Can you tell me what that means? What's
What
American? Yeah, what's
this-
American culture?
I would argue American culture is based off of the Enlightenment and Protestant values.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you so far.
All right, then I don't know what you want to argue.
Okay, yeah, those are some American values, but what that
I
looks like can vary also. For example, you'll see that like white evangelical Christians are oftentimes very against what other people might consider to be freedom, like a
how would
woman's
you-
choice to get an abortion. I personally don't even agree with that, but if you look at it from a broad sense, you'll see that, yeah, it's the white evangelicals that are usually standing against certain values, like gay people getting married, that
Well, that-
align with the Enlightenment, more than brown people. Brown people tend to
Well-
vote Democrat more.
What about brown people voting Democrat more?
It doesn't like it. I mean, if you're talking about preserving American culture, what are you getting at with that? I can only assume you
Well,
really mean preserving
way
white
you-
people.
Well, like I said, I think American values stem from things like the Enlightenment and Protestantism. So what I think is the way to preserve that is that you can't just see culture as not connected to a people. And I think the reason how America's culture was built up was due to the majority of our country at the founding being Anglo-Saxon or white. So the way you preserve a culture is also preserving the people that built the culture.
But don't you realize that different white people have different cultures?
I would disagree. Not in America. Sure, in Europe, but I would disagree. Not in America.
Well,
Usually when
in Europe also, yeah, but also
Exactly.
in America, yes, of
Europe, there's no
course.
well, in Europe, there's no concept of being white. For the most part, most people are white in Europe. They go by their home countries. Like a white person.
I
Europe
don't
is
live in
not-
Europe, so I can't speak to it, but I'm pretty sure what you're saying is wrong. But either
How
way,
the fuck is that? Wait, how is that
because you
wrong,
can
my
literally
guy?
look at and see that there are do you really think that a white person living in New York has the same culture as a white person living in like rural Alabama?
Not at all. Well, no. Of course, there's regional differences, but that's stupid. Like, do you think there's no culture at all because different people, different? Do you think there's no? Do you think any country has culture because there's different regions and different countries?
I mean, that's more of a question you should be answering, right?
No.
You're the one that wants to preserve this culture. You're the one looking at it so overall and homogenous.
Well, of course, there's regional differences. That doesn't mean that a country doesn't have a unifying culture. The fuck type of question is
So
that?
what the American unifying culture is Enlightenment values?
Of course, yeah, not just Enlightenment values, but I would say there's American cultural political ideals that we can recognize as being American and things that oppose those as being un-American.
Okay, so how would you go about like protecting these? Because it seems like, we're advancing civil rights. We have BLM, we have gay rights advancing. Seems like we're doing pretty good with that, right?
How would I stop? Well, the way I would stop gay rights is I would take marriage out of the hand of government and give it back to the hands of the church. The way I would
Wait, you
stop-
want to stop gay people from getting married?
Yes.
Wait, but that contradicts American values.
Of course it doesn't. American values would be life, liberty, and private property. I want the hands. I want the hands.
Wait. You said yourself that American values were Enlightenment thinking. Enlightenment thinking is democracy, freedom, autonomy.
Oh yeah, freedom. The way we saw freedom is very, very different from the way we see freedom now.
Oh
you can-
my God.
It is.
Wait a minute. So hold on. So you want to preserve American culture, which is the Enlightenment values, but you're against Enlightenment values.
How? Wait, which name some Enlightenment values?
Dude, You said, I'm going by your definition. Okay, I'm not getting, no. You're not going to flip this around on me. I'm going by your definition, which was
No.
Enlightenment thinking
I
and
mean,
Enlightenment values,
Dude.
broadly speaking. Freedom, autonomy, independence from the government, or independence at least.
But yeah, you head ass. I mentioned autonomy from government. I said I want I want marriage to be completely taken out of government.
And
I
you
just
want it to be purely in the hands of the church.
Yeah, because that's where marriage.
So would
comes
atheists be able to get married?
From. Should who?
Would atheists be able to get married in your society?
No, it'd be up to it would be up to church. It would be in the hands of private hands.
So the biblical definition of marriage is one man, one woman, a union between God, right? So
Yep.
that would mean that you have to be a Christian also. So
no, it'd be up completely to the hands of the church. The same way the 1964 Civil Rights Act is also very against freedom.
so let's say it's in okay, so hypothetically here in your little fantasy world, even if it is up to the church, what do you think the church is going to say? Let's say it's up to you.
Well, I'm not the church. I don't know it, but what Pope Francis said, I think it would be between a man and a woman.
So what if they were atheists? They could still get married then?
Well, it would be up to the person. It would be up to the church. It'd be up to the person that's doing the marriage.
I just find it really unbelievable that you say that we all are unified by American values and you do not align with American values. Not only does your opposition to gay marriage misalign with Enlightenment values, we can also look and see that the majority of the country supports gay marriage. So you are opposed to America and what I would argue are now American values.
Yeah, you think autonomy from government is American values. So I say autonomy from government, and that's somehow against American value. That makes a lot.
No, government can be involved. I think that people deserve to have freedom, and sometimes that requires the government to protect in certain instances also.
Okay, sure. Define freedom. Define freedom.
The ability to move without coercion, the ability
to move.
Do you want me to look up the definition,
No,
like the dictionary definition?
No, you don't have to do a dictionary logical fallacy. Just tell me what you think freedom is.
I just told you.
All right, so you said the freedom of movement. That
To be able to operate freely, make your own decisions without
Okay,
repercussions or generally without fearing for your life.
the way we see freedom, the way we usually see freedom is autonomy from the state. I just described to you autonomy from the state, and you're telling me that's un-American.
No. What I'm saying.
What the
Okay.
fuck do
Okay.
you mean, no? What the fuck? Also, you're the one that brought this shit up. I wanted to ask you about religion, and you're telling me about American culture.
Because I just find it unbelievably hilarious that you say you think that American values are the idea of like freedom or Enlightenment values, but now you are opposed to certain Enlightenment values. But either way, whatever. You know what? It's fine. It's cool. Doomer nationalist. After this conversation, I'm a doomer now too. So thanks, man.
Base, Chad, that's base. You care about the
I
environment.
really appreciate the combo overall.
Hold on. We need to find some common ground because I don't want to leave this without getting some common ground.
Okay.
What's the most important thing politically right now? What do you think is the most important thing?
I don't know if there's one single important thing. There are multiple different important things. I think systemic racism is pretty important, though.
Okay, systemic racism. What would you do to end it?
Well, I think that there are various different things we can do. We can look at how Joe Biden, I think that he has some different plans in his infrastructure bill that's going to allow for ways to fix it. Hold on. I'm trying to usually where I start with that is just raising awareness of the issue. How we would go about fixing it, I know we can do it on various different policy levels. I mean, for example, we have, let's think here. So we have a disproportionate amount of black people that are given sentenced to the death penalty. So you would have to look into why that's happening, try and figure it out, and try to figure out, I guess, how to fix it. I know I'm not really giving like a solid answer, but I don't know if it has like a direct solution at the moment.
You don't believe in getting rid of the death penalty, do you?
I would have to think that one through a little bit more, but I'm definitely leaning more against it.
I have a few solutions to black systemic racism.
What's up?
End the war on drugs.
Agree. Common
Okay.
ground. Okay, we agree so far.
Do you know what a federal job guarantee is?
Where it sounds like where the government guarantees you get a job.
It's to reach full employment. It would just be, it's how citizens can get jobs, but also I think if more black people were given the ability to have jobs, I think that would help them financially.
Okay, yeah.
And what's the third reason? I guess I just have two main things. I guess the third one would be like, I don't know what the third one would be, but that's two things: get them jobs and in the war on drugs. So you know, 'cause
All right.
that's
Well,
what
then
drugs
there
are.
you go. It sounds like we found some common ground then. Doomer nationalist. Maybe I'm slightly less of a doomer now, so thank you.
You care about the environment too, right?
Of course.
You agree with the carbon tax?
Again, I would have to look into it before I make any definitive statements, but on its surface, it sounds okay.
Yeah, I remember a while back you were talking shit about AOC and the Green Deal, or the new Green Deal, whatever the fuck it's called. I was just wondering if you still. Hey, what's up? I was still making sure that I was just wondering if you were like still against like AOC and those type of progressives in the Democratic Party. I was just wondering.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of AOC, but I try to look at her a little bit more objectively now, so I don't like hate her, but I also think that sometimes she does say things that aren't always the smartest.
Are you rocking with Palestine or Israel?
I don't have a position on that, but I do have a position on the fact that I need to end this call, so have a good one, my dude. Bye.
Okay.
Epona, what's up?
Hi. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you?
I'm doing good. Oh, sorry. I need to shut off my live stream.
Okay.
Yeah, give me a minute. Okay, I paused it.
Okay. What's up?
I'm doing good. I'm
Good.
just excited to talk to you. I've been like watching you for since I was 14, for 5 years. I really love your channel.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it means a lot.
Suggestion, your video you did of your wife when you were talking about Paul and Morgan, could you have your wife on the channel more if that's possible?
Yeah, I'd definitely have her on. I have her on for some of the streams too.
Yeah, I've seen her. Yeah, I really enjoy that kind of stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun doing videos with her.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
Also, I was gonna talk about religion. It's just I'm just questioning my belief system because I grew up in Catholic household. It's
Mm-hmm.
we believe in religion, and it's just I don't really know how to feel about it because I see religion is just I don't know. It's just I'm confused because I don't exactly believe in it because I go to church, but I don't really go to it often, and I'm just
Right. I know for me, it got to the point where it was kind of just because it was what my parents were doing.
yeah, me too. And it's just I don't think I'm atheist, but I just don't have proof that God exists, that
Right.
God is a person, because there's just so many crazy people. You know how Catholics are just some of them are just crazy homophobic. They're just using the Bible to justify their bigotry, and I just don't
That's
like
true.
just it frustrates me that I'm just oh man, I'm religious. I still think in the afterlife because I like to think that something happens when I die, so I sleep better at night.
Right. Yeah, that whole question about what happens after you die, that I think about that a lot. So
I do too. It
I feel like it's been really harmful, at least it was for me, to be raised kind of from a very young age I had an understanding about heaven and hell, and I feel like because of that kind of made me really paranoid about death from a really young age.
yeah, stressed me out too. But my parents weren't heavy on the religion. They could have, but both of them were busy. My mom is just really Catholic. She wouldn't be okay if I came out as atheist, but I don't think I'm atheist. I'm kind of agree with religious values. It's just I'm not crazy religious. Like maybe I'm just like what is that word? Like a theist or something?
Agnostic is where
Agnostic?
it's where you think there might be a God, but you're just not really sure. But like, so an atheist is where you say you think there is no God, and then an agnostic is where you think that it's possible that there's a God, you're just not really sure.
Yeah,
And
I feel like that.
yeah, that's the thing is I feel like the only way that an afterlife could exist is if there was a God, but that might be incorrect also.
That could be. It's just like I just think there's an afterlife so I can sleep better at night. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to somewhere when I die, and I feel like I shouldn't worry about that because I'm like so young. I'm like, oh, I'm only like 19. I shouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, I definitely can. I'm kind of sometimes I get pissed that I was raised in some ways that I was because I feel like it makes me. My
It
wife
just,
is suggesting you look into Christian agnosticism.
yeah, I might look into that.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm not exactly sure what it is, but
Yeah,
I
also
think
wanna.
there's
Oh,
definitely I mean, no one really knows, but there's either something after death, or I've also heard people say that like when you die it might just be like how it was before you were born. Like you kind of just like don't exist anymore. And
that's
at
fun.
and at first, the thought of that sounds kind of scary, but then I don't know. It also seems sort of comforting sometimes to be like, all right, you have your time to exist and then it's over. Like, I don't know. I don't remember what it was like before I was born. Like, I just didn't exist. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that kind of sounds like a better way. Also, like wanted to talk about like politics and stuff because I just have a problem with like the two political party system. It's just like, I feel like it's not working. It's just like
Right.
it's like on both sides. And like I remember when I first started watching your channel, I was just like, I don't know what side I was on because that was like the first time I was like exposed to politics. I was like, the crazy left sounds crazy, so I wouldn't want to be on that far left, and I wouldn't
Hmm.
want to be far right because like they're insane. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's so toxic. And I'm just like, I feel like the two party system is
Right.
no. It's like I don't know if we need like a third party or we need to like
Yeah, I don't know. It's all so complicated. But
it's just
I would take my wife's advice, look into Christian agnosticism, see what you think. And
yeah,
it's I understand because I went through the same kind of process of having a lot of doubt and being unsure about what I
mhm,
really believe and everything. But it does get better, and you're gonna
yeah,
feel a lot more relieved once you come to a conclusion that you feel you've reached on your own after doing your own like research and thinking of what seems to make sense to you the
yeah.
most.
I'm still like trying to figure out like my belief system, like what political stances. I have some ideas. It's just like doing all that research is like overwhelming. I'm trying to like because I'm also watching other YouTubers, leftist YouTubers to like help me come to like, oh, what do I believe in? What would I believe is best for the US?
Right. No, I got that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, keep doing your own research and yeah, keep up
Yeah.
the don't be afraid to question stuff. It's okay.
Okay. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, sure. Have a good one.
You too.
Chas. Hello. Joseph Cush, thank you so much for the $10 donation. I was once close to being radical, but I also became more centered and believe in liberty for everyone. Hell yeah. Capitalist Eagle 1.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. So what's up?
I would like to talk about, I guess just the historical context to nationalism. I know that was what the stream was originally about.
Kind of, yeah, except I didn't actually get into it.
Yeah, a lot of people are just kind of
It kind
trying
of
to
turned into a
riff a
white
little bit.
nationalist debate.
yeah, that was kind of silly, and I didn't was not liking it that much.
All right, so hit me up with the nationalism stuff.
So I guess I'd sort of like talk about like the 1800s and sort of leading up to like the modern day concept of nations, because
Can
when
I hate to cut you off already. I'm sorry, but the term nationalism has really changed very like abruptly, especially recently. So I think that a good way to define our terms we should probably agree on is, usually people ask like, what's the difference between patriotism and nationalism? And patriotism is something I heard at least I thought was a really good definition. You can tell me if you agree with this. Patriotism is loving your country for what it's done. Nationalism is loving your country no matter what it does.
yeah, I
Okay.
agree.
Okay.
So I guess I look at that like political nationalism, but I'm just sort of talking about how Europe and like the United States went from like colonies and sort of that to a nation, and sort of the intellectual movements that sort of created
Okay.
like a greater American state and
Right.
a greater like
So
yeah.
I think that there are absolutely ways that like you can there are ways of course that nationalism can serve a purpose. I think for example like after 9/11 we all like had kind of a bit of nationalism in a sense that we all unified as a nation and kind of like recognized ourselves as one identity. But generally speaking, at least today, yeah, I would say nationalism's really cringe. It's literally loving or taking pride in the fact that you were born on like a rock. And if you are sincere about being a nationalist and you agree with that definition, then I would completely stand opposed to the idea of defending your country no matter what.
Oh yeah, I can definitely agree with that.
Okay.
But like also like sort of how ideology spread, and sort of like let's say you're in India and you want to sort of protect from Chinese influence. If everyone sort of had a stronger national identity, it can
Mhm.
sort of stop radical foreign ideas, and having sort of a common structure of your own forum in your own country can help
I
sort of keep politics
I
grounded.
disagree with this. No, when you're usually nationalism can lead to more xenophobia, and oftentimes xenophobia can lead to more issues overseas as well. Like, for example, like America constantly like meddling in the Middle East, for example, that plays a huge role in getting members of that region to hate America. So, no,
Yeah.
I would completely disagree with that. I think if anything, nationalism could lead to worse outcomes, not better when it comes to overseas issues.
Yep. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess I just trying to sort of gauge like is can nationalism sort of be like a means and not necessarily like sort of just a purely political ideology, like sort of coming together to form a sort of national forum, and then sort of keeping that,
I guess I would
because
have to
like
know what you mean by like what you mean by national form.
every country is going to have their own like stuff that most everyone agrees with, and most everyone agrees is like a hot topic issue,
True. Okay.
and how like different forms of like so like socialism can't be the same in a predominantly urban country, and it can't be the same in a predominantly agrarian country. There's like agrarian socialism. I know there's like specifically like urban industrialization and sort of that sort of more socialist idealism. Like I can see sort of like conservative social ideas with socialist economic ones.
Gotcha.
And I think sort of a similar sort of like if you can gauge like the nationalism within your own country, you can sort of spread international ideas much more easily in the national forum.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that there's going to be some variation there. I just don't know if this is, really has much to do with nationalism. Defending your country no matter what, I think, is ultimately, something that's pretty harmful and leads to negative outcomes. But either way, I really appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you for having me on.
No worries. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Hello. I can hear you, yes. I have a feeling based on your username that you are a troll.
Yeah, no, I'm not a troll. Look, so I've been watching your channel for like a couple months now. And so far from what I've gathered from your transition, you've left the right, but like your transition to the left hasn't been too strong because you're not quite there yet. That's sort of my summation of the whole thing. What do you think?
What do you mean that I haven't gone full leftist?
Yeah, and that's kind of bad on you. What do you think about that?
No, I don't want to be going full leftist. I don't agree with. I'm not down with the commie shit.
Okay, well, what about any leftist theory like critical race theory? I know you're okay with that, right? Am I wrong about that?
I don't know. Your voice sounds awfully familiar. Have we talked before?
We never talked. No.
Critical
I
race
barely got
theory.
to
No,
join
I
you
think that it
today.
has some positives and some negatives. I think that what I advocate for is really just looking at it on an objective sense, looking at it as an academic field, and just recognizing that there can be some positive insights learned through that lens, and there can also be negative ways that you can interpret that academic field to further bad ideas.
Yeah, and I sort of agree that it can be like a good, useful thing for learning, right? But one of the theories I wanted to talk to you about from my sociology class was something from Power and Economics. It's called cultural rearrangement theory. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about it. So basically, it's the idea that it's basically like reverse mass deportation. So, like the immigrants from the third world, we recognize that they contribute massively to the economy, right? So one way we could boost it and also create an equal outcome of opportunity between the races in America is by mass deporting white Americans as a way to eliminate the power of white people. We'd be exchanging them for eager immigrants from the third world, right? This would fix class issues along with racial issues. What do you think?
I think that you're a huge troll right now, and I can tell. I just Googled cultural rearrangement theory, and there's not really any such thing. Second of all, I know that like you're asking very leading questions. I can tell you're trying to get me to answer something to like fall into a trap. How about instead of hiding behind this like meme veneer, you just like come forward with your beliefs so we can talk about them? Do you want to deport all white people?
Actually,
Is
no.
that what's
Actually,
going
no.
on?
Actually, no. You know what's going on? I actually want to talk to you because I can tell you're not going to take the leftist theory seriously. So let's talk a little bit about economics. From what I understand, you're kind of a libertarian. Is that correct?
Well, I'm not really too good with economics. I actually just had a conversation on capitalism with Destiny. So I would consider myself more of a capitalist economically. But, you know, I usually stick to the social issues more or less. I feel like I've heard your voice before. Do I know you? Have you been on the show before?
I have never been on your show. But what I wanted to ask was about economics. I know you say you're a capitalist. Don't you think it would be a good idea to sort of abolish like the capitalist system and sort of like, you know, try to be more socialist so we can help the morale of our people better?
What are you trying? Are you trying to get me to say like yes to some like radical lefty idea so that you can clip it and post it on Twitter or something? Is that like your goal here?
Radical lefty? No, I'm a socialist. What are you talking about?
Are you a national socialist?
No.
Really?
Of course not.
Huh.
I can make national socialist arguments.
So what's your
guess.
position then?
Well, I mean, I just think we should, in order to help out a lot of the people in America, one of the things we need to do is sort of, be heavier on the social programs. You know what I mean? What do you think?
I mean, I advocate for stronger social programs, sure.
Okay, and what about abolishing the capitalist system?
All right, buddy. I appreciate you coming on. I can tell this is a troll from just the questions you're asking me are obviously very leading. And also I know I've heard your voice before. I just can't put my finger on it, but I know that you're one of these fucking trolls.
I'm
So-
not a troll, bro. I'm
Yeah,
not
you
a
are.
troll. But it's
All right.
it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Peace out.
Not really getting many good debates. Mostly just people that want to troll and be lame. Haste, thank you for the 5. What are your thoughts on the Uyghur camps in China? Yeah, it's horrible. That's a quick, easy way to find out if someone's a tanky. All right, well. He was a good troll. He really was. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in.